one's gonna care down the line about these videos anyways. You really don't deal with it, in all honesty. Sure. There are no phones in heaven, and sometimes dreams don't come true. I mean, first of all, it's Harrison Ford, but the main thing we just should shrivel up and die, and because then after that, once you hit 40, no one's gonna want. I just sort of stay in my own lane. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna do a Q&A session, which I have never done before. I'm really excited because I have some great questions that you left for me under the comment section in my, I think, 2 videos ago. And you also private messaged me on Instagram. So I really appreciate all the questions. We are going to be talking about beauty, style, personal questions that I am a little nervous about because I will tell you, I would say in my daily life, I am more of an introvert than an extrovert. And so when it comes to opening up, it takes me a little bit of time. I kind of have to get to know you. I wish I was different. There were many times where I'm like, I wish I was more open and blah, blah, blah. But that's just not how I'm wired. And I accept that. I kind of came to the conclusion that it is who I am, and that's okay. Um, but so answering some of these questions is a good challenge for me, but I'm happy to do it. So let's begin with the first question, which I have been asked a couple of times, and that is, how old are you? I am 47. I just turned 47 in August. I'm a Virgo. And then the second question that is sort of related is, how tall are you? I am 5'6", a little bit over 5'6", although I feel like I'm shrinking now that I'm getting older. But last time I checked, I was 5'6". What? The other question that I got, and this is style related. Hi Agnes, for Q&A video, where do you draw your style inspiration from? Have you seen your style evolve in the last 5-10 years? And how would you describe that difference? I am 43 and I have found that I was way more conservative, a dresser 10 years ago. And while my style is very classic, I play around more with details like necklines, etc. Lastly, what's the oldest clothing item you own? And what do you get, and what did you get rid of that you wish you hadn't? Some really great questions. Okay, let's start with the first one, which is how has your style evolved in the last 5-10 years? Well, let me just get a sip because that's a loaded question. I would say in the last 10 years, it used to be, I think it wasn't as, now if you watch my videos, it's more classic, it's more timeless. I'm focusing more on quality than quantity. In the past, in my 20s and my 30s, it was more about just buying, following trends. And I'm grateful that I had that period because I think I got it out of my system. But at the same time, I'm noticing how wasteful it was, and it just didn't really serve me long term. So, but in terms of my style, when I was a teenager, my style was had that 70s vibe. My friends and I, we were obsessed with the 70s fashion. So we wore a lot of bell bottoms, even though I grew up in the 90s. Then in my 20s, I think it was more of that bombshell, kind of more sexy. I think I was just trying to appeal to the male eye, male gaze a little bit more. I had platinum blonde hair. And so that was fun, but I'm glad I am past that stage. And then in my 30s, I became a mom, and it was a little bit more comfortable. I it started to change. I would say started to get closer to a classic style in my 30s, and then once I reached my 40s, it definitely became a little bit more classic, timeless, as I said, and I think it's just going to continue that way. Not that I don't like trends, I do, but I just don't base my wardrobe decisions on what's trending. I think when it comes to personal style, it takes time, it takes years to really curate a closet that you love. I don't think personal style happens in one shopping spree. It really does take a while. You have to be patient with yourself, and but that's how you create a wardrobe that you truly love. And so trends are great, but I try not to fall into the trap of investing in too many trends. Okay, what was the last question? What is the oldest clothing item that you own? The oldest clothing item, I just got a like a poncho. I mentioned it in my last video about fashion trends. I just got a poncho from my mom-in-law, and her sister knitted this really beautiful poncho, I think 50 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, and she gave it to me. I'll make a style video with it soon, so you'll get to see it. But I think that's the oldest piece, and then I also have some pieces from my mom that I inherited, and yeah, and those are just amazing. I'm so grateful to have them in my closet because it's just such a reminder of, my mom, and just so sentimental. And I am not going to get rid of them, even though I don't wear them too often, but they're going to be in my closet until my daughter inherits them and she decides what she wants to do with them. Okay, what did you get rid of that you wish you hadn't? Well, that goes back to my mom. To make a long story short, when my parents passed away, and they basically passed away, I think, a month apart from each other, I was the first one. I have two siblings. I was the first one to go into the house, and I started the cleanup process, getting rid of, donating their clothing, items that we weren't gonna use, and so on. And so started going through my mom's closet, and there was this amazing jacket that she brought over from Poland when we moved to Canada. And it was made out of wool, it was black, it was just so classic, so timeless. And I donated that jacket, and just I wish I hadn't, because it's just such a beautiful, well made, well crafted item. I don't know what I was thinking, but I think I was just so emotional. And, I was mourning and I just wasn't thinking straight. But I wish I took my time going through the items. I wish I gave enough time to just sort of be less emotional. Oh, sorry, about everything that was happening, that I made a different choice. I did keep other items from her closet, as I said earlier, but that jacket is definitely something that I regret donating. I would like to know who inspires your style. Well, my mom, I think, was my first inspiration. I made a video about her. I think it's called the 10 lessons I learned from my Polish mom. I'll link it down below, but she was definitely my first inspiration. She had great style, and she always kind of took care of herself. Um, and in terms of other inspirations, I think people like Audrey Hepburn, for sure. Who hasn't she inspired? Jackie Kennedy had fabulous style. Carolyn Kennedy, I made a video about her as well. Um, who else do I really love? There are some uh, YouTubers as well that I think have fabulous style. Um, Anyone else that my mom, actually, my mother-in-law, she has such great style. I mean, she's an older lady, she's in her 80s, but every time we come see her, she just looks really put together. And her closet is tiny, but somehow she just manages to make herself look really great all the time. I have never seen her in sweats. Okay, you mentioned living in New York City when you were younger, Toronto, Poland, and now in LA. What was the reason for all the moves? So, the story is long, so I'm not gonna go into too many details, but I was born in Poland, and then when I was 12, my family immigrated to Canada, to Toronto, outside of Toronto. And I finished high school in Canada. And then when I turned, I think I was 17 or turning 18, I moved to New York City by myself because I wanted to become an actress. And so I went to a conservatory, American Musical and Dramatic Academy, for 2 years. And I finished that, and then I lived in New York for another year. So I was there 3 years altogether. Then I came back to Toronto. I did my bachelor degree at University of Toronto. I did that for 4 years. And then I moved to LA to pursue acting with my then boyfriend. And then we got married. But we're no longer together. This is my first marriage. I was always somebody that wanted to live in a big city. I was definitely a big city type of girl. And so as soon as I could leave the house, I moved to New York, and I loved living in New York. I still love New York. I try to visit as often as I can. My best friend lives in New York City. So I have someone that I can visit. I have other friends that are there as well. And I just love the whole vibe. I'm not sure if I could live in New York City again. I think as I'm getting older, I am. Um, I love peace and quiet a little bit more. I would love to live somewhere in nature at some point. LA is wonderful, but again, it's a big city, and I am feeling the urge, the calling for something a little bit more quiet and in nature. So we'll see where we're going to be. My daughter is in high school, so we have to wait until she is done with high school, but probably in the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to be making a move. Um, but that was kind of the reason why I moved so much. My dream from the get go was to do plays. I love Broadway. I would love to be in a Broadway show, but I think that train has left the station, and sometimes dreams don't come true. But nevertheless, I feel like I have been so blessed with other opportunities in my life that I did not envision, and I am grateful for that. So, how did you deal with the loss of both of your parents? I recently lost my father and struggled to find a way to cope with his death. How do you get over the loss? First of all, I am sorry for your loss. Ah, it's heartbreaking when that happens. Any death, but losing your parents is challenging. Um, so my heart goes out to you. How did I deal with their loss? You really don't deal with it, in all honesty. You basically learn how to live with it, and it does get better. But at first, I would say the first year is a struggle. I lost both of my parents. I think I mentioned a month apart. My mom, we knew she was dying. She had a brain tumor, and then my dad basically died a month before she did from a heart attack. I think his heart was broken, and so he passed away suddenly. It was unexpected. It's definitely true what they say, time heals all wounds, and so I think time makes this process a lot more bearable. Life gets to be beautiful again. You do not feel that pain that you feel initially. After a while, it still hurts. You still miss them. There isn't a day when I don't think about my mom or dad. Funny enough, I was in Santa Monica not too long ago, and I saw Harrison Ford walking. And this is the second time that I've seen Harrison Ford in my life. The first one was in New York, and now this is in LA. But he kind of looks like my dad. He has that silhouette. And when I saw him, I mean, first of all, it's Harrison Ford, but the main thing that I was focusing on is how much he reminds me of my dad. It was like seeing my dad walking down the street, and I just started tearing up. And I wanted to go up to him and say, "You look like my dad." But at the same time, I didn't want to scare him away because I'm for sure I would have started crying. Can you imagine being Harrison Ford and some girl comes up to you and starts crying, saying, "You look like my dad that passed away"? So I left him alone. I just let him be. But there was a moment where I thought, oh gosh, he looks like my dad. And it was kind of nice to see because, you know, you don't get to see your dad anymore. And I would say, I think my biggest advice for you, for anyone that still has their parents around, call them, even if you're just calling them to talk about the weather. Call them as often as possible. And I mean, when I say often, I mean every day, because uh, one thing that I know for sure, there are no phones in heaven. You cannot call them. There are so many times when I want to call my mom and just chat with her and just get her opinion, and you can't do that. So don't waste that opportunity. If you still have your parents, call them, even just if it's just to talk about the weather. Okay, let's move on because this is a tough subject, but yeah, I'm sorry for any of you that are going through it. I, my heart goes out to you. Channel. I love your channel. Thank you so much. Anytime I hear that, I just light up because, you know, when you do these videos, you're basically in a room with a camera and there's so much self doubt because you're putting yourself out there. And it's so lovely to hear whenever somebody says, "Oh, I like the video." So thank you so much to anyone that has ever watched my video, that has commented, that has pressed the thumbs up button. I really appreciate you all. I'm just so grateful because otherwise I wouldn't be making these videos. Okay, I love your channel. What made you want to start a YouTube channel? You know, it's so funny because I started watching YouTube as soon as I think in 2008. Was that the first time? I think so, some around that time, or 2009. No, 2000. I cannot remember, but and I just loved it. And I wish I had the guts to do it then. It took me a long time to finally gather the courage to start a YouTube channel. And I just, the basically the main reason why I started was because I watched other ladies here on YouTube. One of my favorite YouTubers, and I guess the first person that I started watching was Lisa Diwan, and I still watch her, and she's still hands down my favorite YouTuber. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share and connect with other women and just talk about stuff that I enjoy, that I get a tickle from. And so I finally started, but it took me a long time. So if you are thinking about it, just do it. Like, it's never going to be perfect. There are videos that are really cringy that I have made, and almost every video that I post, I second guess myself. And there's a part of me that does not want to because I feel like it's just embarrassing in a way. But you know what? Life is short. I mean, who's gonna care down the line about these videos, anyways? And is this something that I'm gonna regret doing when I'm on my deathbed? I don't think so. I think if I haven't done it, I would probably regret it. But um, you know, it's if you're thinking about it, do it. Make some videos, see if you like it, and yeah, I think it's you know, you what do you get to lose? Da, da, da. Okay, so where were we? Okay, do you believe in age appropriate dressing? I do not. I really do not. I think it's ridiculous to tell somebody what they should or shouldn't wear based on their age. I mean, if you're in your 60s, 70s and you want to wear a mini skirt, go for it. It's none of my business. I need to dress myself, and that is plenty to think about. I think everybody should have the right to just wear what feels right for them, period. And yeah, so no, I think there are no rules. The only rule is what makes you feel your best. Okay, another question is, hello Agnes, I would like to know an update skincare routine. Which products are you using? Also makeup wise. And I love your hair and style. Okay, so my skincare routine is pretty simple. I can do a dedicated video to that, but I would say the biggest difference that I have found when it comes to skincare is using tretinoin. And I know that not everybody can use tretinoin, and I have sensitive skin, so it took me a while to built up to it. And to be honest with you, I still haven't. Like, I still peel from time to time, but I have found that tretinoin works the best. In terms of the products that I use, I just wash my face with a face wash. I then, in the morning, um, I don't use vitamin C anymore. I don't really use any toners anymore. I used to use a lot of Korean products, but I think I came to the realization that I love Korean products. Don't get me wrong. I think they definitely work. But the simpler my personal routine is, the better for me. Um, I'm very oily. I break out easily. I have sensitive skin. So if I just stick to a simple routine, basically, I wash my face in the morning. I put on, there's one Korean cream that I like to use. I put that on, and then I put my sunscreen on, and that's it. In the evening, I use my tretinoin. I use glycolic acid as well. I use this exfoliating product from Zoe Skincare. I also use my tretinoin, which is from Zoe Skincare, and but glycolic acid for sure. They have these pads that I use. I'll link everything down below for you, and I can also do a separate video. Just let me know. And my tretinoin, I put on my cream that I use in the morning, and that's it. I don't use anything else. Um, and that seems to be working really well for me. I don't get too many breakouts, and it just kind of keeps my skin looking nice and healthy and plump. In terms of my hair, I think I made a video with my favorite expensive products, in which I mention my favorite shampoo. I um, just cut my hair, by the way, because I decided to give myself a haircut, and I watched a YouTube video where you take your hair and you put it in a ponytail, like in the front, and you take scissors, and I actually did that, and I just messed up my whole hair. So I went to a hair salon and got it trimmed because it wasn't even. But in terms of my favorite shampoos, I made a video with, I think it's called Expensive Products Worth the Money. And I mentioned my favorite hair products there, but definitely Orbe Gold Last shampoo. There's a conditioner in a red tube. It's for color treated hair. Even though I don't color my hair, I use it because my hair is naturally frizzy and curly, and that just seems to give it nice shine. I also love Purology, Shiseido, the I think it's like a orange line, and I think it's moisture, something to do with moisture. And yeah, and I use my Dyson Airwrap. I also use my um, Amica tool, hair tool, um, that just kind of helps to smooth it out. And that's all I do. Oh, and I use the either um, Kerastase oil or the Shiseido oil, which I love, and their spray as well. And um, and that's pretty much it. Okay, another question is, do you color your hair? And if so, what do you use? So I do not color my hair. I haven't colored my hair probably in, gosh, 10 years, I want to say. I only have a couple of gray hair, and so there's no need. But I'm still trying to decide if I start going gray, am I going to let it go natural or am I going to color it? My feeling is I'm probably going to play with some color, but at this point, there's no need. So this is just my natural hair color. The other thing with my hair texture, it gets frizzy. So as soon as I put any color on it, it does not look good. It just becomes frizzy. It doesn't look healthy. So for as long as I can keep my natural hair color, that's what I'm gonna do. And then if I decide that I want to cover my grays, when they come in, then I might do that or not. Time will tell. But I do not color my hair at this point. What is your number one beauty advice? My number one beauty advice is to just take care of your body, to feed it the right food, eat your antioxidants, eat your protein, um, move your body for the right reasons, and that is to keep it healthy. I am of the belief that our body is our temple. It's a gift that we've been given, and I think it's really important to treat it with respect and just take good care of it. You know, I try to eat antioxidants. I do blueberries every day. I do avocados. I do sprouted, what's it called? Sprout, no, broccoli sprouts. They're really good for you. All sorts of things just to kind of give my body the nutrients that it needs. And I think that's been the biggest difference that I noticed. As soon as I don't eat well, I see it in my skin, I see it in my hair. Um, Moving your body. I love walking. I think walking is one of the best ways to keep your mind sharp, to have a positive attitude. Whenever I feel off or down, I go for a walk. It 9 out of 10 times it improves my mood, and there's just something about walking that is so miraculous, and it's free. We don't have to go to a gym. Um, I love being in nature, just spending time in nature, allowing your body to just get fresh air, I think is so essential for not only just staying healthy, having a good outlook on life, but just our overall health. And that includes the way we look as well. But definitely taking care of your body for the right reasons to keep it healthy. Once your health goes, and I'm speaking from just seeing my mom deteriorate when she had cancer, it's hard to enjoy life. So I think it's really important to invest in your health so that you can reap the rewards down the line. And obviously, we don't know in life, you can be taking care of yourself, you can be doing all the right things, and you can still end up getting cancer. So it's not a given, but I think you definitely have more chance of having success and living a more joyful life in your old age when you put the effort and take care of your body the right way when you're younger. So that is my number one beauty advice. What is your take on aging gracefully? My take on aging gracefully is we can't skip it, right? So, um, worrying about it too much, trying to prevent it, is exhausting. And to be honest with you, I don't want the next 50 years of my life to be about that. I feel like I have done enough of that in my teenage years, in my 20s, trying to look a certain way, trying to follow what society thinks is good looking, blah, blah, blah. That it's so tiring. I think being a woman is amazing, but at the same time, there's so much pressure on looking a certain way, and I don't want to play that game when I'm 80 or 70 or 60 or 50 or even now. I want to relax a little bit. You can age gracefully in a natural way or not. I am not one way or another. I think everybody, again, has the right to choose what they want to do with themselves, what feels good to them. But having said that, I don't want to spend the next 50 years of my life chasing youth. I do want to take care of myself. I do want to nurture my body and, show the respect that it deserves. Every woman should decide for herself what is correct and how she wants to approach aging. But for me personally, health is definitely my number one priority. So that's how I'm looking at it now. It's funny, women. I was talking to this guy when I was, I think, 38, and I was still acting, and he said to me, "Well, you only have 2 years left." Before, in terms of acting, because then after that, once you hit 40, no one's going to want to hire you. And I just, that is such a just total BS. Um, but that's how society wants us to think. That's what society has been dictating. And I love seeing older women take charge and basically change the narrative and decide for themselves what it means to age, and what it means to age gracefully, and whether or not this is going to be a great period of our lives, or we just should shrivel up and die. And thank goodness that many women are choosing to say, no, I refuse to follow the rules of, or the script that society has given me. I am gonna come up with my own script and make this the best years of my life. And so I'm really grateful, especially when it comes to perimenopause, which is another subject that I could talk about. It has been an interesting roller coaster like this. Um, and But yeah, I am not gonna let somebody else dictate what it means to age and how I should feel about myself as a woman, because I am now in my 40s, approaching my 50s, period. No way, Jose, okay? So it is up to me. It's a choice that I need to make. It's the dialogue that I'm gonna provide for myself, and no one else is gonna tell me how I should feel and how I should view being an older woman. Have you ever thought about men when talking about men aging and having salt and pepper hair? How, men are like wine, the older the better, and women, hello. Yes, we are just like wine as well. The older the better. How do you deal with negative people in your life? How do you deal with negative comments? How do I deal with negative people in my life? Well, I try not to deal with them, to be honest with you, because um, it's you won't change someone's mind by dealing with it. The more energy I find you give to someone that's negative, the more you fuel that negativity. So I just sort of stay in my own lane. I protect my own energy. I try not to let them impact how I feel, because what good is that? Um, I have learned that arguing with someone that has a different point of view from your point of view is most of the time useless, or it doesn't really lead anywhere. It only creates more negativity in the world, and I don't want to be someone that adds more negativity to the world. I think there's enough of it to go around, and I don't think that's our role being here. I think we are here to spread love and joy and light, and that's kind of how I want to live my life. And so I don't. Um, there was a really good sketch once that I saw, or like a little cartoon, where you have two stick figures arguing on a looking over water, and they're standing on the shore, and there's a crocodile that's in the water, but they're arguing whether or not the crocodile is a piece of wood or a crocodile. One person is saying, oh, it's a crocodile, and then the other one saying, no, it's a piece of wood, and they keep going back and forth, and eventually the crocodile comes up from underneath the water and eats the guy that says, no, it's a crocodile. So I think it just shows you what arguing with other people that have different opinion from us uh, does, not only to your psyche but your whole well-being. There's no point. It just drains you, and at the end of it, you get eaten by crocodiles. How do you deal with negative comments? You know, the nice thing is I don't get too many negative comments. I'm a small YouTuber. I'm a small fish in the pond, so I don't really get too much hate. I did get a little bit of hate or negative comments when I did the Carolyn Bessette Kennedy video, her style, and people were saying that I am too fat and too short to to make a video about her, which, I mean, I can see the point. I'm definitely not a model, but I still don't think I I shouldn't be allowed to make a video or um, recreate her style. But everyone has an opinion, and that's just fine. Again, I don't. Yeah, I don't really let it affect me. It's just someone's opinion. They have the right to their opinion. I have the right to my opinion, and it's as simple as that. So Yeah, I think letting someone affect you and disturb your peace of mind simply by stating an opinion is um, it's something worth working on. So I don't try to give negative comments too much energy. As I said before, if you give it energy, it grows. I don't want to cultivate that. What helps you get back on the horse when things get challenging in life? Well, I think I already mentioned it, but definitely spending time in nature. There's just nothing like it. Going for a walk, talking to my husband, just opening up, letting it out. I think when you keep it inside, it just kind of festers and the energy has nowhere to escape. So just talking to someone, sharing, opening up, letting them know what you're feeling, whether it's your husband, whether it's your best friend, whether it's your mom, whether it's your dad, your aunt, just having that one person that you can really kind of digest your thoughts with, I think is really important. And another thing that I have found tremendous benefit and help in difficult times is having just knowing that I have a direct connection to something bigger than me. Whether you want to call it God, whether you want to call it the creator, source of love and light. But cultivating that connection for me has been, I would say, one of the most important uh, aspects of my life. Without that, I probably would have been in a ditch somewhere at this point. Just knowing that there's a source that loves me unconditionally, that wants the best for me, that is always there, that I can always turn towards, is, I would say, one of the most important lessons that I have learned in my life. Having a spiritual practice that helps me to connect to that source has been life changing. It Without it, I cannot imagine my life, and I am just so grateful for that. And just knowing that I am loved unconditionally, that we are all loved unconditionally, no matter who we are, no matter what we have done in our lives, that there's a source that we all come from, that we are all siblings, family, that we are all connected, has just helped me to understand so many difficult situations in my life, to deal with difficult people as well. And I am just so grateful for that. So that that is that is something that helps me to get back on the horse. Okay, what do you think about women tearing each other down, especially on social media? I think it's really sad. That's what I think. I think, I mean, as society, I would think we would be further along, but we're not. I never want to walk into a room and make another woman feel less than. I just noticed that it feels much nicer to me when I walk into a room and I try to make someone else feel better about themselves than to do the opposite. It's not a competition. I think competition is a soul drenching activity, and it doesn't make us feel better about ourselves. It doesn't make us feel better about the situation that we are in. It just kind of takes the life force away. It really does feel so much better to be kind and to spread positivity and give a compliment than the opposite. So I'm kind of doing myself injustice by if I bring in negativity. Everybody benefits by sharing the light. You benefit, the person benefits, and yeah, it just feels nicer. I think that is everything for this Q&A. I have no idea how long this video is, but this was a chit chat. I really do feel like I just had a cup of coffee with you all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you felt like that too. I am happy to make part two if you have other questions that popped into your mind, or if there's something that you're wondering about, please let me know in the comments section. Um, and yeah, share your thoughts. If there's anything that maybe you don't agree with, please do it in a kind way, or whatever it is that you're feeling. If there's something that you want to share, feel free to do so in the comment section. It's really wonderful to read your comments. I think sharing is caring. We all learn from each other by sharing our experience. So feel free to leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for being here, for watching. I know it was a long video. And I will be back soon with a style video, um, probably next week. So look out for that. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. See you soon. Bye.